Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where it's actually been a little bit for me. If you've been keeping up to date, it hasn't been a particularly long time for you, but I've been working on a slightly different project that I'm not quite ready to talk about just yet. But we are going to start implementing vehicles. I mean, vehicles are already quasi-implemented, but we need to start actually implementing vehicles and having them actually, do things. Now, one thing I want to check before we do that is go into the parcel manager and check to see if we have a way to get a package from a particular hex. So essentially, we're going to need a public package and then get package from building hex. And then we'll just pass in an int3 hex. About like that. And of course, this is parcel. We might as well change this name to also be parcel, like so. And then, at this point, the question is, do we get for both pickup and delivery, or do we have a different function for that? Let's have a different function. Get pickup parcel from building hex. I mean, we could just, it's a single line, right? It would just be return awaiting pickup dot, how do we just go in like this? Yes, int3 key. So we just return awaiting pickup hex. That's all we do. But I mean, it might be a slightly easier, in terms of reading the code and what the code is doing, it might be slightly easier to use these functions. So we'll make them available just in case. So public parcel get delivery package, or well, delivery parcel from building hex, int3 hex. And then we just return awaiting delivery hex. Just like that. Okay. So that'll be super easy. And we're gonna need these. I mean, we technically could have just done the awaiting pickup hex and it probably would be less typing, but I think it's easier to read this. So there we go. We're not going to run anything. There's nothing to run really there, but we're going to use that in the vehicle class here. But first, I think the first thing that we should do, and this might take a couple of episodes, in fact. Go on there, Unity. The first thing that we should probably do is fire up Blender here. Blender. There we go. Words are hard. And I'm just going to go ahead and save as. And this is going to go in game projects. This is a lot of game projects. I need to finish some of these. Operation Logistics. Assets. Meshes. And this is simply going to be vehicles.blend. Okay. So we've got ourselves an empty Blender file here. And I don't have screencast keys on. Let me go ahead and turn that on. Okay. There we go. Screencast keys. Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and add in, I think a cube will be okay. And the question is, we're going to need 4 of these, right? Because there are 4 vehicle types. We've got the delivery vehicle, we've got the truck, we've got the train, and we've got the ship and the plane. I forgot about the train. Okay, so for the train, we would probably need, 3 different things? We're not doing trains just yet. We might want to come back to trains later. Technically, we have nothing implemented for trains. So, with that being the case, I feel like, for one thing, I should turn up my mic a little, maybe? I'm not sure. We'll try this. Just slightly higher on the gain. That's too high. Maybe about like this. That's exactly where it was before. Okay, that'll have to do. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and make a delivery vehicle. I'm going to move this up slightly, about 1.5. And then this is just going to be very simple. I'm going to extrude this along the y-axis only, scale it down to about 0.75. And then I want to grab just this top edge here and move that down to about the same 0.75. 0.75. Something along the lines of that. And then we'll just extrude this out for right now. We'll have that be extruding out about 1. And then we'll extrude it once more, about 0.5. And we're going to want to grab this down again, down to about 0.1 maybe? Or not 0.1, about 1. Yeah, that seems about right, actually. I'm okay with this. Now, we do want to make this kind of back area be a little longer. So we're going to do that about negative 0.1, not 0.1. And I don't want to extrude it, I want to grab it about negative 1. About like that. And of course, this is the delivery vehicle. It bears noting. It might be a little hard to tell, but it is. Now the question is, how are we going to go about attaching the wheels? Well, the answer there is relatively simply, what we're going to do is we're going to take, well, this face can actually be deleted. We don't need that face. Do we have any doubles here? We don't have doubles. Okay, that's actually good. So we're going to go ahead and grab these faces here and extrude them down about 0.25. So about halfway to the ground. And then I'm going to make a loop cut here, as well as a loop cut back here. Right about there will do. And these will become wheel wells. So we can then just very simply grab this and move it up a little bit, or alternately, we can just have this essentially be a hole like this. And then just slightly expand this down here by about 1.5. Something along the lines of that. And then we can fill that in like so. And then we can put in wheels there. Now we might want to change the actual height of these wheels. So let's go ahead and grab this and move this down to about negative 0.1. Yeah, that seems okay. I just want to extrude this in a little bit here, give that a little bit more detail in the windshield. Okay. We can do the same thing for the door over here and over here. We want to be on individual origins for that, though. So we can go ahead and do something kind of like that to suggest some doors. Okay. That was exciting. Okay, so we still need our back wheel well. Now, what is the width of this down here? That's something we need to know to approximate. So let's see here. The edge length here is what? 0.5 exactly? Okay, I'll take it. So, in that case, we want the width in here to be shrunk down by 0.5. There we go. And what is this width? 0.3 repeating? Sounds good. So we want to grab all of this again, except for these 4 vertices down here. And we want to shrink that along the x-axis down to about that 0.3 repeating. It doesn't have to be exact, but close enough. Okay, and then we can do the same thing back here that we did for the wheel well up there. Delete these faces. Okay, and I'm not trying to make this super pretty, just, reasonably functional. While I'm at it, we might as well make a suggestion of a door back here. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to save that quick, and let's go ahead and add in a circle. And 32 vertices seems overkill for this. I'm going to use 16 vertices, so half that number. And we're going to go ahead and go into vertex select mode rather than face select. And we're going to rotate this 90 degrees. Go into front wireframe view so that we can actually position this. And I'm going to go into ortho as well. And we are going to position this at this point in global space right here. About like that. Excellent. And then we will position it on the y-axis at negative 0.1. There we go. And of course it's a little on the large side, so we'll just go ahead and shrink that down to be about 0.25. And then we'll position it on the z-axis to be right about here or so. 0.125, I think. Now, it bears noting, of course, that the wheel is under the ground plane. We can fix that just by moving the whole thing up 0.125. There we go. Okay, now for modeling the actual wheel, we're not going to do a huge amount here. We just want to take this in about 0.125 again. And then grab this and move this 0.125. We want it sticking out a little bit here so that we can actually see it just a little. That's maybe too much though. We'll grab it and move it in maybe 0.1 so that it's just barely sticking out. Yeah, that should work. Okay, and then we will extrude this inward a little bit to about 0.7 looks pretty close to right. And then extrude that in a little bit, 0.01. And then we'll just do like 0.5. And then 0.05. 0.05. There we go. That's too much, isn't it? That is too much. 0.045. Back in. There we go. That's pretty decent right there. And then we will go ahead and set part of this to rounded, or rather to smooth shading. And that will be these parts that are circular out here. So in particular axes, these are supposed to be flat shaded in here because those are flat parts. But these out here are supposed to be round, so we're just going to go ahead and make those smooth shaded. Like that. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and add in a mirror modifier. Where are you, mirror modifier? Here you are. Now obviously it's not correct up here, but that's okay. We're going to be mirroring this across the y-axis so that we have a wheel on both sides. And then over here we're just going to extrude this down the same 0.7 that we did before, extrude it in 0.01 as we did before, extrude it in again 0.5 as we did before, 0.05, actually it's 0.005, like that. However, this time we're going to grab this and move it all the way to the center point, like so that it just connects up about like that. And then we're going to grab this here, as well as this here, and make it flat shaded. And this in here needs to be smooth shaded. There we go. Okay, so I mean, obviously it's not connected, but we'll get to that in a moment. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we will finish our mesh for the delivery vehicle. Subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.